Carol. I'll call to order. I did. Pledge of Allegiance, please stand.
Recording in progress.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Carol, roll call, please. Here. 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 Here.
Dave Poe,
Here.
Robert Marinaro. I'll go back. Joe Juba.
Here.
Jack McHugh.
Here.
Richard Antonetti. John Nygren.
I'd like to appoint Jack McHugh in for Richard Antonetti tonight. As a full member. Okay, the next item, welcome everybody, by the way. The next item on the agenda is public participation, limited to items that are not listed as public hearings on the agenda. Does anybody have anything to say from the public? Okay, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, is the adoption of the minutes. Carol, all the minutes have been typed, correct?
Yes, all the minutes are typed and ready to be approved.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 7th, 2024?
So moved.
Hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to approve the regular meetings of January 3rd, 2024?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved. And I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 6th, 2024.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All approved. Okay. Staff report, Mark?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. The zoning consultant and I are just recently met yesterday. We are really essentially done with any revisions and reviews of the regulations. We're actually on the definitions, which is the last section. It is time for us to gather. We'd like to gather the committee together. I intend to reach out to you to propose some dates for a meeting so that we can have that review. And then after that, be ready to bring it to the full commission. So I will do that in the next day or two, reach out to the committee. We're doing the final edits on the affordable housing plan. That's in the hands of the town manager and back to NVCOG for, again, just some final edits. So we're ready to review that and give that to the commission for your review. And our longtime intern, I'm happy to report, has found a job with SLR, the consulting firm, as a transit planner. So I believe he's going to start in the next week or two.
Good for him. He's a hard worker.
And that's all that I have, unless
Yeah.
you have some questions.
Yeah, I do have a question for you. We have an item on the agenda regarding Chipotle Mexican restaurant and
Yep.
it calls for a public hearing, but we've been doing some research on that. You also, and if there's apparently not a need for a public hearing, would you go into that right now before we get to that item on the agenda?
Sure. So if you do in looking, not superficially, but looking at the table of uses in the B-SC zone, a restaurant with a drive-through would be classified as a site plan special permit. Normally, in one part of the regs, it says that any approval given for a use that involves a special permit would ordinarily follow and be a special permit involving a public hearing as a follow-up. I actually intended, so we asked the applicant to at least put a site plan application in, and my intent was to leave it to the commission to decide how you wanted to handle it, but the thought being that, well, the regulations do call for a special permit, so therefore would follow to have a public hearing. And in having a conversation with our zoning consultant, he pretty much mirrored that same train of thought. But in doing further research and looking deeper into the zoning regs, and I guess this is a comment on the zoning regs as well as they're written, even us that look at them day in and day out can always find new things, new sections or new nuggets of information each day that you look at them, which shows the complexity of them, and hopefully with the new update they'll be much easier. But anyway, I found a section that talks about a change of use, and it essentially says that a new site plan should be required for a change of use to a use that does require a special permit, or an expansion of existing building, or addition of a new structure, or addition of new parking, but it does not call for a public hearing process. It leaves it to the commission to approve that change of use under site plan. So notwithstanding anything else, we are on track. You do have an application for site plan in front of you. It does not need to, you do not need to schedule a public hearing. I suppose you could if you decided that, and I'm just saying theoretically on any change, or any change that you deemed to be pretty significant and worthy of public hearing, you have that right to do that, but there's not under that section, there's not a requirement to have a public hearing. So you're free to review it under a site plan and make your decision accordingly.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, Chairman does not have a report tonight. We have no new business, old business, I'm sorry, and new business. There it is our site plan special permit application from Chipotle Mexican Restaurant, 10-acre mall, 595 Straits Turnpike, Watertown. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Luke Morrow. I am a senior project manager with Soli Engineering, office at 501 Main Street in Monroe, Connecticut. Here tonight representing the owners, which is the Brown Building of Waterbury, LLC, as Mark had discussed, for a change of use for an existing bank at the 10-acre mall plaza on it's the bank itself. The address is 544 Straits Turnpike. So we're looking to change that to a Chipotle with what they call a Chipotle lane, which is simply a pickup window, an order head pickup window, and I can go through some of the the specs on that as we go through. So I'm going to see if we can. So just high level overview of the town of Watertown here. The property itself is on the south side, just kind of over the Middlebury line, on the east side of Straits Turnpike. This total property is about 9.2 acres, and it's located within the Business Shopping Center, BSC zone. So this is kind of a view of the overall site plan for the property right now. So as you can see, so plan on the left side is north. So the site's bound by Straits Turnpike to the west, which is on the bottom, Bunker Hill Road to the north on the left, residential properties to the east, which is the top, then commercial uses to the south. The existing plaza is about 95,000 or so square feet. And there is a 3,033 square foot bank in the northwest corner, which in this case is the bottom left corner. And there's about 434 total parking spaces. So just kind of a zoomed-in view of existing conditions for the area in question. You can see the 3,000 square foot bank building with the black roof there. There's about 13 parking spaces located to the north or left of the building. There's an existing drive-up teller window with about a 12-car queue. And there used to be an ATM also on the north side where that you see that striped arrow all the way on the left, which is no longer in operation. So the site plan in front of you tonight is simply for a conversion of that the existing bank into a Chipotle. No expansion of the square footage itself. They're gonna use that renovate that internal space for their operations. As part of the upgrades associated with this site plan, we would be modifying the parking lot on the north side to bring it kind of into some ADA compliance. There's some slopes and stuff that need to be fixed to bring it to compliance. We would be installing an outdoor patio area, a refuse area for 2 dumpster pads as required by the tenant. And then there's a number of other ADA sidewalk and pedestrian upgrades as well. In the area of the renovations, we would be doing new asphalt lip curbing, new widened sidewalks on the east side or the top side of the building there for increased pedestrian safety. And then we just wanted to go over quickly, just so everyone understands how the Chipotlane works. That's not like a typical McDonald's or Burger King where you can, drive up to the menu board, place an order, go to the window, pay, and then you're cooking your food and you get it. Everything is done ahead of time through their app. So you place your order, you do the payments on the app, you set your pickup time on the app, and we're told by Chipotle it's about a 30-second transaction. So you get into the lane, you know what time to show up in that window, you tell them your name, they hand you the food, and you pull out. So it's very efficient. There's control over how long that queue can get. Generally, they don't see queues getting in the busiest times to more than 4 to 5 cars, but we do have that existing 12-car queue, which should be more than adequate for their purposes here. Again, there's no order board, no menu board ahead of time. Everything is done through the app. If you wanted to order on site, you need to go into the building and do so at the counter. And then just to talk through some of the safety and pedestrian upgrades, we're showing, as you can see on the top side of the building, east side, a crosswalk over to the parking area located on the east side of the building across the main drive aisle there. We're going to add some stop signs and stop bars to the approaches from the side drive aisles for increased safety, especially in the area of that pedestrian crossing. And we were also proposing at the crosswalk like a fluorescent yellow yield to pedestrian sign as well to kind of make it known that there is pedestrian crossings there. However, there has been some discussion back and forth, and it was recommended maybe we look at like a speed table, if you will, like a raised crosswalk for some additional pedestrian safety reasons, and the developers are agreeable to do that. So we could do that in concert with those pedestrian fluorescent yellow yield to pedestrian crossing signs for that additional safety measure, if it pleases the commission. And with that, that's a high-level overview of generally what we're proposing, and we can answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
Through the chair?
Yes.
The only thing well, 2 things. One, I would definitely like to see a speed table there. I think that's a great idea. And then I don't think you went over lighting.
So lighting will remain essentially as is, assuming those fixtures out there are in compliance with the regulations. There may be a need to swap out the head with like a more energy efficient LED light. But something that we could go over with Mark. If it pleases the commission as a condition of approval, we'd be willing to do that. Yep.
Do you know where the existing lighting?
There's
currently is?
one by the area where the ATM was. I
Okay.
think there's a shoebox fixture over there. And I believe there's going to be probably a couple building-mounted light fixtures as well associated with Chipotle, so we'll get some light off the building as well.
Okay, and if we could get one over by the crosswalk, just
Sure,
so at night
sure.
it's safe
Yep.
to cross.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other commissioners have any?
Yeah, I do. Welcome back, Luke.
Thank you. Pleasure to
Do
be
you
here.
have anything that shows the layout of the inside of the building?
We have a preliminary layout that Chipotle's been working on.
Okay.
Not that has been submitted yet, but I could tell you there's 58 seats
Okay, that's
inside. And it's basically a split. About 1,500 square feet or so is for the kitchen, and then 1,500 is about patron area.
Yeah.
Two restrooms. And the main entrance will be located, the main entrance, if you have your site plan, it's going to be located basically on the left side where the parking lot is. Right now, the entrance to the bank is kind of on the opposite side. Didn't really seem to make, sense from an access point. But they're going to basically swap. So they're going to move the kitchen to the right side there. And then the main entrance will be located kind of where you see that sidewalk on the left side of the building.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other commissioners?
Yes, through the chair, and again, welcome back. Hours of operation.
So they're not open for breakfast. I believe they open around 10 or 11, and then they close, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. No 24 hours or anything like that.
Okay, second question through the chair. Signage, will there be signs on the building? Will there be a freestanding sign on the road?
They'll have their own, they'll ask for signage, their typical Chipotle, prototype signage on the building. As I understand it, probably have to go through a separate signage permit process. I may have to defer to the developer. Tenant panel, pylon sign?
I'm Dale Mangione.
Sorry, any signage on the pylon sign? You guys can give them the panel for
They
that?
wanted to have signage on the pylon sign, but it's
The-
not a prerequisite.
The existing sign?
Yeah.
So they may add a panel to the existing pylon sign, wouldn't be a new separate sign structure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other commissioners?
Through the chair. The exterior, do you have any visions of what that's going to look like?
So they're going to be painting with a gray tone over the existing stucco facade. The bump outs or arches, if you will, they're going to be replaced with glass pane windows, and they're going to do like a 4-foot ephes accent at the top. Like a light gray as well.
So we're bringing it up to more of a nicer look, obviously.
Yes.
That was built in the
Yes.
60s.
Right.
We're going to
Yep.
make it look nicer.
Yes.
It'd be hard to go backwards.
Yes, yes, yeah.
You're right.
Point taken. Yeah, but it'll be nothing crazy. It'll be a gray tone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do you have any photos or pictures or of the sign for the yield, or the pedestrian warning sign? Is it lit independently?
It is, the sign itself is not lit independently, but it is on the site plan that we submitted under sign detail D. It's the yellow.
Okay.
So sometimes if you're driving, actually, there's one over here on Straits Turnpike, right down the block, and that's in the middle of the street there, but it's essentially going to be the same sign mounted on both sides of the crossing.
On both sides of the crossing?
Correct.
I do have a question to the chair. On the opposite side of the patio, what's there, just open space?
Just
or-
yeah, just lawn. Yep.
I just want one more, I just want to repeat what Danny said. I think I've been driving through that parking lot all my life, and people move pretty good there. So that raised sidewalk, I think that's a must.
Yeah, Mark
Okay.
had sent it to us today in email,
Yeah.
and we all agreed. I mean,
Yep.
we
I
were
mean,
trying to think of something else that we could do, because we know, everybody crosses.
Yeah.
And the whole shopping center, you
Yeah.
have
The
to cross
grocery
in order
store.
to get into anything.
Yep.
The
So
grocery
just slow
store.
it down, it'd be nice, yes, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Staff, any comments?
I've had preliminary discussions with the applicant. We've expressed some concerns or issues with regard to pedestrian parking, crosswalks, et cetera. They have answered all questions, so I do not have any further questions or concerns.
Okay, all right. Do you have a prepared resolution on this, or do we do it?
I do not.
Okay, fair enough. Apparently what we're going to do is we're going to do, I'd like to hear a motion for approval of this application. And I'd like that motion to take into effect a speed table, lighting for the crosswalk area. And I can't think of anything else was the commission's concern. If I'm missing something, please.
I think it was just the overall lighting that they would review with Mark.
Overall lighting be reviewed with staff and the speed table be included. So if one of the commissioners would like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion. Make a motion that we approve this site plan and special permit 2024-01 for Chipotle Mexican Restaurant at the 10-acre mall, 595 Straits Turnpike, Watertown, Connecticut, with the inclusions that they will review with staff the overall lighting. They will add the lighting to the crosswalk area, and that crosswalk area will actually be a speed table.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, it's just site plan, not site plan special permit.
Oh, I
Site plan.
apologize.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion on the table. It's been seconded by Mr. Demers. Is there any discussion? No, hearing no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Plan is approved. Welcome.
Nice
Thank
job,
you.
Lou.
When are we going to get some Chipotle?
Thank you.
This was a walk in the park.
A walk in Chipotle.
I walked to Chipotle, free food for the members. I can't eat there, but I'm allergic to cilantro, so. Yeah, unless they don't put cilantro.
So these guys are still stuck in wet.
Hello, Mr. Strube. How
Are they
you
still
today?
stuck in wetlands? Are you kidding me?
The big black hole.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Ready for you? Yeah, okay. Attorney James Stroop, site plan special permit. Burr Hall Farm LLC, development of a 68.6 acre parcel. Thank you. We need to extend the public hearing on this, Mr. Stroop.
Yes, for the record, well, I definitely don't know how to use that, so I'll put that there. For the record, Jim Strube, an attorney at Secor, Cassie McPartland. Carol and I have corresponded during the week, and our extension has already been submitted. I asked him for an extension through the next meeting of the public hearing. I'd like to thank the chairman for his prescient comments, our first meeting here, whether we thought we were all set with wetlands. And we've exhausted every second of that process that we can at this point. I think the plan's better. They had a third-party review that Emily will go over in a minute from SLR related to the floodplain. Fair jurisdictional thing for them to look at. I think it went well. In the end, it verified Emily's suggested design approach with some modifications that probably do make the plan a little better. So notwithstanding that it took longer than I may have thought at first, I do think it's been a productive process. Their hearing is closed. They have 35 days from when that hearing closed to act on it, which is essentially next Tuesday, that they'll be in a position where they have to act on the application. We, of course, hope that they will approve it. And then we'll be back to you next month with their report as required by the regulations. And hopefully from there, we can close this process up with you guys and move forward as well. I know we're the only ones in the room, so we don't want to take up a lot of your time. But we thought we hadn't been here in a while. There have been some changes, so we thought we'd go through the plan quickly so you could see it again. so that when we come back next month, you have some familiarity with it. There's also a couple changes based on some comments from the last time we were before this commission also. Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening. For the record, Emily Jones, professional engineer with Civil One. Thanks for seeing us tonight. Yeah, I just figured since we hadn't been here in a few months, and we've done some work with wetlands, that I would just go very briefly over the plan and the changes and essentially why, how we've come to where we are with wetlands. So, as you are probably aware, the proposal is for a farm store and other associated agricultural buildings on about 68 acres in the R40 zone on Olive Road. We're proposing to bring the driveway in off of Olive Road. It's a gravel driveway to serve a 50-car parking lot. This parking lot is probably oversized for quite a bit of the year, but we did want to utilize that space in the event of like peak summer hours. And then there's a farm store right at the end of the parking area. The large sort of Z-shaped building is a grain milling and lavender barn. And then the building further up the hill is a bee and butterfly barn. So all of the fields associated surrounding that you can see in light green are things like orchards, bee and butterfly conservancy, wildflower fields, lavender fields, wheat fields, things like that. So essentially, as we were going through this process with wetlands, we do note that Hot Brook runs through the property and that there is a FEMA floodplain associated with that. The mapping was inaccurate, so we did some analysis and came up with a floodplain elevation through that 100-year flood elevation through Hot Brook. And we also designed a stormwater treatment plan that is not entirely traditional because it doesn't have a traditional detention basin, sometimes like you'd see subsurface chambers or a large basin. And we went through that process because it's a little bit unique and there were a lot of questions. Inland Wetlands hired or had the applicant hire SLR to do independent peer review of our analysis, and we generated a lot more calculations because essentially a lot of times we assume that we do not need detention when we're so close to a water course because that water runs quickly into the water course and is essentially gone downstream before the water comes from Vermont or wherever it is up above Litchfield. But they really wanted to make sure. This is a sensitive area and we understood that. So we did a huge watershed analysis and came up with the confirmation of that, that assumption. So it's good to go through that every once in a while and make sure you're not, making erroneous assumptions. So essentially, in the end, we got a clean letter from SLR for our floodplain analysis and for our recommendation of no traditional detention. Instead, we're doing a lot of low-impact infiltration throughout the site. And they had a few minor comments about adding a swale on the uphill side of the driveway or adding check dams or ripraps to areas where swales are steeper, things like that. So we incorporated all their comments. Everyone seemed satisfied, and we closed the public hearing. So we're really happy with how this has turned out. I think it's a really interesting project. It's not that often you get a unique project like this that you get to work on with clients who are amenable to doing a lot of the sort of green roof and infiltration and, not maximizing their impervious surface and parking area. And it's been a real pleasure. So I really hope to see this come to fruition, but that's just.
Okay, just to add on that, I did none of the math. Emily did all the math, just to be clear. But at the last time we were here, Dr. McHugh mentioned lighting. We have spoke to the client, and they're going to defer to their architects, but in the parking area, we are going to include for next meeting a lighting plan. In advance of next meeting, we'll turn in a lighting plan. So thank you for the suggestion. And other than that, we continue to communicate with Mark and their office. I'm with Emily. This is really exciting. I think it's a nice thing. It's the right project in the right place. I work on a lot of projects, and sometimes it's the right project, not the right place, sometimes vice versa. This is the right place. I mean, I remember years ago when we were put the subdivision lots in place on Nelson Lynn's property that have since been reversed and sold to Planner's Choice. This is a corner for farming in this town. It's not the right place for development projects, and that proved that project. So I'm with Emily. It's very exciting. So we look forward to being back next month with a wetlands approval and hopefully go from there.
I understand that next month, 4 of our commissioners are not going to be here. They're going to be replaced by the wetlands commissioners.
That would be amazing.
Then we'll definitely need guacamole.
At least they're familiar with the plan, right? They don't have to review it?
Oh, man, that would be something.
Through the chair, I just want to say congratulations for getting your public hearing closed.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, it was dicey.
Thank you.
So,
Appreciate you guys, and appreciate your work on this, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
See you next month, I guess.
Yes, you will.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck in the weather, by the way.
All right.
You want to take a break before the next hearing? No?
Let's see, we have communication and bills. Do we have any communication and bills? Yeah. No? Yes?
A motion to.
Well, no, do we have any communication and bills is the question.
I'm sorry, a motion to. Just a point of order.
A motion to continue, oh, yes. I need a motion. Do I hear a motion to continue?
So
the public
moved.
hearing? Do I hear a
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you're continued. Thank you. Sorry. Do we have any communications and bills? None? Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
So moved.
Next meeting is May 1st. Thank you. All in favor of
Aye.
adjournment?
Aye. This is the
Okay.
fastest
Good night,
meeting I've ever-
everybody.